Hey, welcome to Women of Color in Horror. And I am very excited to introduce you to our next special guest, Brimo Morales. Welcome. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
coming.
I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Brimo, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely. So, I am a lesbian filmmaker from San Antonio, Texas, and I absolutely love making films. And I'm working on my first feature film right now, which I'm super excited about.
And I am super excited about it too. I've been helping Brimo every chance I get in between my campaign to promote her as best as I could, because I am so like she's the only one that I'm like really really gunning for the most out of everybody that's crowdfunding right now, because I stand behind her film as well. She has it's such a great concept. Brimo, I'm just gonna have you bring the camera down just a little so we can see your full.
Yeah.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you. All right. And so can you tell us a little bit about it? Like, what's the name of your film? Tell us a little bit more about it, please.
Absolutely. The film is called Sacred Vision, and it's about a non binary witch named Galen who stops taking their antidepressants and starts seeing visions of future crimes before they happen.
Oh, guys, you heard that? This is like so deep. And like, I want to watch the movie like now. I'm like super stoked about it. Brimo, thank you so much. So, what gave you the inspiration for the film?
Yeah, I wanted to make a feature film and I'm like determined to make one by the end of the year because I just turned 32 in November.
Okay.
I won first runner up at AFM in 2020 at their pitch conference. And so I get an executive badge that I haven't used yet. And I wanted to go this year with a finished film. So at first I was working on another script that I thought I was going to shoot, but I was like, I don't know that I like this idea as much. Like I feel like there's something else out there. And so I think I first thought about doing something with a non-binary character because there's not a lot of representation out there for them.
Right.
And then I was thinking about witchy type of stuff and tarot card readers and things like that. And so I started looking up movies that had those types of characters in them. And I came across a movie called The Gift from 2001, starring Kate Blanchett, and they call her a fortune teller. So she's a fortune teller that helps them solve a crime in her small country town. And I think it was really well made and I really enjoyed the story, and it really inspired me and helped me kind of milk that idea that I kind of had at the back of my head somewhere and really pull it out. So that was a big inspiration.
Wow, that's so great. And I am familiar with the film as well. I liked it. Um, Brimo has a lot going on. So tell us a little bit more about your Indiegogo campaign, because it's right now, there's an active campaign going on Indiegogo to support Sacred Visions. This is really big for her, guys. This is her first feature length film, correct?
Correct.
And good. And it's horror, guys. You need to support this. I mean, she's a female of color. She represents the LGBTQ community. It's a fascinating character, a non-binary character. I mean, these are the stories that we're like begging for. We're yearning for these stories. So we have to help bring this magic, help bring the magic to life, right? So, Brimo, tell me about some of your amazing perks on this wonderful campaign you got going on.
Yeah, so the campaign is going to end on May 15th. As we're recording this, I think we have about 17 days left, and we've raised around $2,400 the last time I checked. The goal, it would be ideal to get 5,000, but 7,000 would like really bring us home and ensure that everything can get done and I can finish everything and get us to AFM.
Right.
But some of the perks I'm super excited about. We wanted to do some witchy type perks. We didn't just want the regular, be in the movie, all that. We have those, but we also wanted to do things like tarot readings, Reiki healing sessions, energy clearings, and just some fun witchy perks that go along with the theme of the movie as well.
That's very interesting. I love how she's so like on point with her perks. Like, I follow her campaign, guys, and she releases so many perks. I mean, she has like one of the greatest campaigns right now going on in terms of like her perks. I mean, it was like, damn. And I remember at one point I was like, oh, teach me, oh wise one. She's like soaring with this, like her campaign's doing great. I got a couple of people on board trying to help her out as well. Everybody's so excited. Like, people are talking about Sacred Visions as the next best thing. So I'm really stoked about it. And guys, you got to head out to her campaign. Make sure you donate. If you can't donate, contribute, grab one of your one of her dope ass perks, and if you can't, we all understand that people can't, not everybody can afford, but if you sharing is caring, and it's just as effective as a contribution. I mean, it's just as important, it's equally important rather. Because it'll help her get the word out more, and more people will be able to gravitate towards her and her company and her mission and her film. So guys, make sure you back that. Now I just want to ask you just a few more things, Brimo, because I'm very excited to have Brimo Morales as my guest today. Tell me a little bit about Shutter and Slate.
Yeah, so I really wanted to bring more of the film community together, especially the indie film community, because I feel like there's not a ton of resources out there for us. So I started a Facebook group called Shutter and Slate, and I thought it would be also cool to have somewhat of an educational type podcast with the same name, so that not only could I document my journey in the film industry, but I could also bring people along and interview people that have gone ahead of me and have done some really awesome things, so that people could learn from them and grow. I don't want to just make it for myself. I want to bring people along with me. So that's what Shutter and Slate is really about, is helping each other.
Right. And just to backtrack a little bit, I just want to give you a special congratulations for AFM for winning that pitch.
Thank you.
That's amazing. And guys, I mean, there was a lot of competition there. I was at AFM, but I didn't have time to submit my pitch for that, but I'm so glad that Brimo won. Look, small world, right? Here we are. Mm-hmm. Okay, so how long have you been a filmmaker, and what was your inspiration?
Yeah, like most of us, I loved watching movies as a kid. I loved picking up the family camcorder and just recording everything, and making movies with my family, my friends, home movies, and like watching it back and laughing and being like, this is so cool. But when I was 16 years old, I actually had a mentor teach me how to video edit. And that was super influential, because then I could really film pretty much anything in any sequence, and then come back and edit it myself, and then add the music and make it look better than if you just picked up the camera and shot. And so that was really profound for me. And that same year, I made my first official short film, and I actually won a competition through my church. I won at the district level, and then I think I was like number 3 at nationals. I don't remember, but I was like top 10 at nationals for sure, which was really cool.
That's amazing. And Jessica, I mean, this is about horror, but we have to give the creator, we have to go back in time a little bit to some of her projects that aren't so much like horror related. But one of them has like kind of like a dark aspect to it. God Loves Chris, if I'm not mistaken. So she has God Loves Chris and 500K. Can you give us a brief recap on those prior films of yours and tell us what that's about?
Yeah, God Loves Chris is a script that I wrote. It was the first feature script that I ever finished, and that's the one that I actually won the pitch with at AFM. And it is about a lesbian who grew up in church, but was kicked out of her church and home for being gay. And so we find her numbing her life with drugs, alcohol, one-night stands, just not really going anywhere. And she ends up losing her low-income job. And when she does that, she runs into a lesbian pastor, and like she has to question everything she's been taught her entire life, because she never felt like she could be gay and Christian. So it's really a struggle of coming to terms with and accepting yourself for who you are, and allowing the relationship between herself and God to really be healed. And it's a reflection of what I went through. It's not based on exactly what I went through, but it was inspired by things that I went through growing up lesbian in a very conservative church and going to a private Christian university. It was very difficult, very stressful. And I know I'm not the only one that was hurt by church. So I'm hoping that this particular film will be what helps a lot of people that have gone through what I went through, and bring them a little bit of closure and healing. Because I know a lot of us leave the church completely, and I want them to know that you don't have to. There are churches that accept you. So right now I'm turning that particular script into a graphic novel. And I'm hoping to build a following with that, and eventually get funding to make that one. 500K is actually a dark comedy. Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry, because you just went through that, and I do want to ask you something really quickly.
Sure.
And I love that, by the way, because And I love how you're trying to break stigmas with your filmmaking, because I for one am a Christian as well. I don't know if you knew that, but and I'm in horror. So everybody's like, how? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I really think that you shouldn't look at, I mean, I think religion has just been equally stigmatized as well. And I feel like every religion has great people to offer, and not everybody has that same like way of thinking, that like that archaic, odd, you know, and I don't really even think that that's what God stands for, period. So that's like all hate spewing anyway, you know, and I don't feel like that's something that God represents anyway. And not to be on a religious topic, but I really love that angle of your film, because you know, in actuality, there are people very accepting of the LGBTQ community in Christianity and in other religions as well, that people tend to shy away from because they feel like they aren't able to approach them because of who they are. So I love that. And thank you. So moving forward, moving forward to your next one, please tell me about a 500K.
Yeah, 500K does fall under the horror category because it's dark comedy. Um, and the main character, Taylor Martinez, is an aspiring filmmaker. And again, I write things that are inspired by my life. So after winning AFM, I was like, this is going to be great. I'm going to have producers knocking on my doors. Like, I'm going to get my film made. And it was just crickets. And I was struggling with unemployment because of the pandemic, but then also not really wanting to find a job. But, you know, also I have to pay the bills. And my wife was stressed out about things. So Taylor Martinez is going through the exact same thing. She's pitching her script. Nobody's biting. You know, her wife is struggling to pay the bills and getting a little worried about things. And so one night she gets this strange call from her insurance guy. And he's like, oh, BT dubs, if you decide to kill yourself, your wife can get $500,000. Please don't. But if you do, you know, it's fine. She's like, what the fuck? What am I supposed to do with this phone call? And so like at first she's like, okay, whatever. She ignores it. But then, you know, as it goes along and things aren't working out as well as she wants them to, she really considers killing herself. And so I don't want to spoil it and tell you exactly what happens, but she really has to come to terms with, am I going to kill myself so my wife can inherit $500,000?
Oh my goodness. Now guys, do you see the level of, I mean, the depth of her, how far deep that Brimo's films go? I mean, like, my goodness, and they're so like, a lot of them are so personal. I mean, these are topics that, you know, that currently exist in our world, right? These are situations that exist on a daily basis, and that's a great concept as well, by the way.
Thank you.
But you know, these are things that we, you know, and Brimo's actually putting it into film, so you guys can definitely connect with this as not even as, you know, as a viewer, as an audience, but personally as probably as a person that's going through these same things, you know. And I am so stoked. Guys, support her all the way. She has some great stuff that she's currently working on, that she's worked on in the past, and I just can't wait to see what she's about to embark on in the future. No, at all. Totally for you, because you have such depth as a filmmaker, and these interesting stories that you're bringing to life. I mean, like I'm honored to even say that I know you. So thank you for coming on Women of Color in Horror. And before we go, why don't we get to know you personally, right? What's your favorite horror movies, or, you know, your favorite horror movies? Yeah, let's go.
Favorite horror movies? That is a good question. I really like The Ring. That one is good. The Eye, also another inspiration for Sacred Vision. I really like aspects of that movie a lot, and that I watched that recently again because it inspired Sacred Vision, and I wanted to see, you know, how they did visions and what Jessica Alba saw during that film. Classics like the Scream movies too, you know, like the the real what are they called, gory, like out there campy type ones like that, you know, slasher films. There you go. Slasher films. Couldn't think of the word there for a second. Oh, and The Orphanage by Guillermo del Toro, he produced that one. That one was really good too.
That was nice. That was what I call like a silent horror, like a horror that has very slow build up, like, you know, it's very like almost has a like a melodic feel throughout the, you know, and beautiful visuals, like almost all his. I'm a big Guillermo del Toro fan. Yeah, well, thank you so much. Where can we find you? Time to promote your wonderful places. Let's go.
Yeah, please head to sacredvisionfilm.com, and that's the Indiegogo, so support us there. You can find me on Facebook at Brimo Morales. You can find me on Instagram and TikTok at Brimo Morales, and at Brimo the Coolest on Twitter, but I'm pretty much everywhere. Oh, you can jump into the Shutter and Slate Facebook group or listen to the podcast. It's on pretty much every podcast platform that I'm aware of. I know for sure Apple and Spotify and Google Podcasts. So look us up.
Yeah, she has a great podcast, guys. Make sure you join the group because she has very interesting people that she features. She has great information. Plus, you can also get updates for her film there as well. Brima, I wish you the best on your campaign. I wish you the best in your films. I cannot wait to see it. Make sure I get a copy.
You got it.
I will see you later. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming. Stay scary.